In a manner of saying, all that the Vedanta teaches is to answer the question, who am I? What am I? Have I understood myself? Do I know myself? Am I living in a fundamental confusion with regard to my own existence? Without knowing who I am, I get into all kinds of conclusions, all kinds of judgments about the so called others and about myself. Who am I really? A mantra in the Brihadaranyaka says, if I know who I am, why would I go after anything of the world? Why would I suffer anymore? The Vedanta traces all our suffering to a fundamental error with regard to who we are. It's in this context that we select a quarter of a mantra in this 13th episode of Know the Upanishads. And it is this quarter of a mantra which gives to us an amazing message. It says our true nature is like a flame, jwala, jyotihi, with no trace of any smoke. That is what Kathopanishad says in its second chapter, first valli, 13th mantra. Therefore, we examine the words of the mantra now, how exactly it appears in this context. 13th episode is about the flame without smoke. Many of you are familiar with Bhagavad Gita saying, the mind of a meditator is like a flame that does not flicker. Yatha deepo nivatasto nengate sopama smrita yogino yatha chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Chapter 6. Our mind becomes a flame, like the flame of a candle, which does not shake. Deepaha na ingate, deepaha na chalati. And in contrast, Kathopanishad says, Jyotihi iva adhumakaha. In Paninian modern Sanskrit, Jyotihi iva adhumakam. This adhumakaha is what is called a Vedic license. Dhuma means smoke. Dhuma, dhumra are smoke. Adhumakaha. The flame without smoke is not talking about something far away. It's the expression to convey our own true being. And the Vedanta is uncompromising in stating that we are, alas, far away from our true nature. So, in the 13th episode, we are going to look at the 13th mantra of the fourth Valli of Kathopanishad. But before that, we take a quick look at the 12th mantra. The 12th and 13th of the fourth Valli or second chapter, first Valli, have the same beginning. Angushtamatra Purushaha. That's how they begin. 12th mantra and the 13th mantra. The expression flame without smoke comes in the 13th mantra. Angushtamatra Purusho Madhye Atmani Tishtati Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya Natato Vijugupsate Etadvaitat. Angushta means a thumb. Both our hands have a thumb. Angushta matra. Matra can mean measurement, or some places matra means only that much. So just of the size of a thumb is this Brahman, who said Satyam Dhanam Anantam Brahma, infinite. And the Kathopanishad says it's just of the size Parimanaha. Angushta Parimanaha, says Shankaracharya in his Bhashya. Parimana means measurement, size. Angushta Matra Purushaha. Your eyebrows may go up. How can the infinite Brahma be called just of the size of a thumb? Therefore, the first bullet in this slide says that is Upasana. A little Shivalinga represents Lord Shiva, who is Sarvavyapi, who is everywhere, all pervasive. That all pervasive Shiva is represented in a small Shivalinga which people worship. Though theoretically wrong on a higher plane, practically on a lower plane, our mind gets to train itself. We train our mind. The idea of Upasana is start small, grow big. In today's business world, we have countless examples of how people start with a small investment. We hear that Narayana Murthy and Nilekani took 10,000 rupees from Narayana Murthy's wife Sudha Murthy and started off Infosys. Start small, but with faith in themselves, with enthusiasm, with commitment, with dedication, with unwavering vision. And today, Infosys is a huge company with tens of thousands of employees, not only in India, but in many Western countries too. Start small, grow big. Therefore, Angushta Matra, just of the size of a thumb. And it's not to be looked at as existing outside. Atmani tishtati, in yourself. Madhye, in your heart. Madhye Atmani tishtati. And this truth, as you get to know with great clarity, is untouched by time. Bhuta bhavyasya ishanaha yesha purushaha. Ishanaha means the Prabhu, the master, the ruler, way above these divisions of past, present, and future. Nachiketa had asked, Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha yat tat pashyasi tadvada. O Yamaraj, do you know something? Do you see some truth in life which is above the divisions of past, present, and future? If you see such a truth, tell me. Yat tat pashyasi tadvada. This 12th mantra also says, begin with gathering your mind, gathering your thoughts, bring them back, withdraw them, and stay focused on Brahman, which to begin with you may visualize as something shining right inside your heart. And if you do so, you will see amazing results. Your mind becomes purer. Don't blame world's objects. Don't blame woman and gold. Don't blame name, fame, politics, government. Don't blame anything outside. Really speaking, it's your mind that gives them all whatever power they seem to have to delude you, to make you fall, to get you bound. The truth is, when you, through upasana, rise to higher levels of consciousness, and at a tipping point, when you realize you are actually absolutely free by nature. The third line of this mantra 12 says, Na vijugupsate. Jugupsate means one is afraid. Vijugupsate also means one is afraid, one is embarrassed, one is uncomfortable, one is at loss. What's happening around me? What's this? I can't bear this. This is too much for me, and so on. But na vijugupsate. Upon knowing Brahman, we will be completely free of all fear. That is how the pair of mantras beginning with Angushtamatra Purushaha starts off. And now we come to the mantra which is specially chosen by us for this evening in India, this morning in the West. The second of the pair, which is in the second Valli, second chapter, first Valli, 13th mantra. Some people call it fourth Valli and 13th mantra, either way. Angushtamatra Purushaha Jyotihi Iva Adhumakaha Ishano Bhuta Bhavyasya Sa Evadya Saushvaha. We have explained what is Angushtamatra. That is the starting point. Purushaha Purnatvat or Yena Shariram Purnam. Though at times we say this supreme truth is in your heart, actually it fills the body from the head to the toes. And further, it is everywhere. The word Purusha has its own etymology, its own way the word is formed. So the truth of our existence is without any smoke. Rarely we find any flame without smoke. Everywhere, the general case is where there is fire, there is smoke. Yatra agnihi tatra dhumaha bhavati eva vartate eva. Sri Krishna in the 18th chapter says, wherever there is fire, there is bound to be some smoke. Wherever you get down into some work, it may be spiritual work, social work, utterly materialistic work, everywhere there will be some difficulties, suffering, agitations. Therefore, Arjuna, do not run away because there are some discomforts in the work, in your Swadharma. Do your Swadharma, bearing with all the difficulties. For you have to be in karma in spite of difficulties, in spite of discomforts. Dhume Nagnirivavrataha. All work is as though covered by difficulties, just as Agni Dhumena Avrataha. So, more often, the situation is fire has smoke around it, above it, with it. But Kathopanishad talks about fire without smoke. And this is an analogy, this is a metaphor for our own existence. Therefore, the question arises, if we are actually the flame without smoke, why do we admit smoke in this flame? Why does or how does smoke get into the picture? First of all, what does this metaphor mean? What is meant by smoke? The smoke here is avidya. Therefore, all Vedanta is meant to eliminate avidya. Asya anarthasya prahanaya sarve vedantaha pravartante is a oft-quoted line from Shankaracharya's Adhyasa Bhashya. Avidya, which is no different from Adhyasa, which is no different from erroneous seeing, is the Maha Anartha. The greatest evil in our life is spiritual ignorance. Asya anarthasya prahanaya. Hana itself means removal. Prahana. We want to completely eliminate the error in seeing and arrive at right seeing. So at the root of it all, avidya is the smoke. One level outside of expression of avidya is kama. Because we are into spiritual ignorance, we desire. We desire wealth, we desire pleasure, we desire freedom, we desire 100 things. Everyone around the world is caught in some desire or the other. Karma. And then, because this karma is driving us all, every one of us is working, doing things, going here, going there. Karma. Manusmriti has a line. Yad yad karma kurute tat tat kamasya cheshtitam. Don't say, I don't know personal desire. There is a hidden desire in you. Watch out. Whatever you do is driven by a subtle desire, if not a gross desire. Even great social workers who dedicate their time and energy and other resources for the good of the society have a desire in them of which they themselves may not be aware. It's a challenging statement. Nothing you do is free of desire. Don't say you are selfless. There is no one who is selfless except an enlightened being. For even there is avidya, there is karma. When there is karma, there is karma. And samaja seva karma also is through or out of karma. Therefore, on higher levels of spiritual evolution, nobody is saying stop your service activities, But even as you serve the poor, the needy, keep an eye on the kind of thought that accompanies that seva. And when there is the least trace of some security, some feeling good for the little I, the ego in you, and that sense of satisfaction is driving you more and more, if you closely examine it, you will be able to drop it. Therefore, the flame is all the more an appropriate metaphor because light, flame, is when other things are seen. Sometimes we don't have anything else, we just have a matchbox, let us say. We have entered a dark room, we take a matchstick and light up. And in that light, in that flame of a single matchstick, we see, oh, here is my key, here is my purse, my wallet. Oh, here is the switch to turn lights on with a little matchstick. So, light or flame is what helps us see, without which we would not see. Therefore, our true nature is of the nature of light. Smoke here, therefore, is in one sense avidya, kama, karma, which are together called anartha parampara. Parampara here means sequence. Avidya leads to kama, kama leads to karma, karma leads to karma phala, and the karma phala leads to attachment to such particular karma phalas, and that attachment further strengthens, reinforces avidya, so to say. Or in simpler language, what is smoke? It is selfishness. Out of the error, out of spiritual ignorance, however much we may try, we become selfish. Many a time not being aware of our being selfish. A husband said to his wife on a Sunday morning in a small village, go get the hammer. We need to do some repair work at our house. Get it from the opposite house. The wife goes there, and that family says, we don't have a hammer at our house. Wife goes to another house. There, actually, a hammer is hanging on the wall, but they tell a lie, those neighbors. And we don't have a neighbor. We are very busy. Please see us later on. She goes to a third house. She goes to a fourth house. There is some honest person also. We have two hammers, but sorry, we don't give our hammers out. When we lend anything, it doesn't come back. Sorry, we can't give. Finally, when she comes back and says to her husband, nobody, no neighbor here is ready to lend her or his hammer to us, the husband says, yeah, I knew all these neighbors are very selfish. Let us use our own hammer today for today's work. Ah, so they had a hammer with them, but they didn't want to use it. They want their own hammer to remain shining without any mark on it. So they were themselves most selfish. Having a hammer with themselves, they were trying to. So you and I also many a time are not aware of our selfishness. We justify, we argue, we say, no, no, I am not selfish. I am doing for your sake, her sake, his sake, their sake. But that's where we have to calm, slow down in our thinking and watch. Raga, Dvesha, all these are smoke. Angushtamatra Purusho Jyotiriva Adhumakaha Ishano Bhuta Bhavyasya Sa Evadya Saushvaha. That truth alone is Adya, is here at this moment on this day. This truth alone will be tomorrow. Shwaha means tomorrow. This truth alone was yesterday. That answers once more Nachiketa's question, is there something which is untouched by the past, the present, and the future. Etadvai tat. This is the truth. So, what is this Jyotirevadhumaka? When you split the sandhi and correct the grammar, Jyotihi iva adhumakam. Jyoti in Sanskrit is a neuter gender noun. Therefore, the adjective adhumaka should go to neuter gender. Adhumakam Jyoti. That's grammar. Leave it aside. Erroneous seeing itself is smoke, we could say, or if you don't like that language, erroneous seeing makes room for smoke. Raga, Dvesha, Kama, Krodha, Ahankara, regret about the past, anxiety for the future, and 100 such things keep rising in us, like waves keep rising in the ocean. But rise above all of them, just be. Be is Sat. And just see. Not seeing with eyes. Much above the seeing with eyes, there is seeing from the depth of your being as pure awareness. Without bias, without prejudice, without identifying, without taking sides, without indulging in any thought, without resisting any thought, without a verbal commentary on the thought. Can you be aware of your thoughts? Can you be aware of your lust, of your greed, of your jealousy? Can you be aware of your loneliness? Vedanta assures you that if you are truly aware, all of these collapse like a house of cards. Playing cards, sometimes you make a house out of those playing cards and just touch it, just poo-poo it, all of them collapse. Likewise, when you learn to sit quietly, or why dramatize it, why romanticize it, why make it glamorous, even in your day to day activities, in the noise, in the din and roar of the marketplace, as even you are bargaining while buying something and the other person seems to be trying to extract more money from you while actually it costs only 100 rupees. He's asking for 300 rupees. You boil, you get very angry. What are these shopkeepers up to? They want to fleece me. All right. At that time, you are not in meditating position. You are not having Gita or Upanishad in front of you. On one hand, you are angry with the seller of those articles for asking for too much money. On the other, you are anchored in the depth of your being and you are seeing anger rising, agitation rising. Learn to see on the go, on the fly. Do not say at the market, okay, I'm very angry here, but I'm going home, and when I go home, after a cup of hot tea and banana chips, I will sit down, meditate, calm my mind. That is an inferior seeker. A superior, more mature spiritual seeker doesn't compartmentalize meditation. Meditation for her is not something to be done at a certain time according to certain steps. Therefore, though a bit difficult to understand for many, J. Krishnamurti used to say, conscious meditation is no meditation. That means when you conceptualize and say, okay, now I'm going to meditate. And the first step is take a deep breath. And now what is the second step? You scratch your head. Oh, second step is repeat the mantra. All that is more an upasana in the language of Vedanta. True meditation, which sets you free, does not leave room for any encumbrance, any enclosure, any boundary. There is no time, there is no place. People ask Ramana Maharshi, what is the best time to meditate? And Maharshi's answer, you find it in the talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Maharshi said, meditate all the time. That means be aware, be that flame without smoke, be aware all the time. Another session we will take that mantra in Kathopanishad. Ya esha supteshu jagarti kamam kamam nirmimanaha. One who stays awake while everything else goes to sleep. To extend it, one who is awake, whether one is enjoying some ice cream or one is suffering from excessive heat at some place. Oh my God, no fan, it is so hot. Why did I come here? Somewhere you are suffering, somewhere you are enjoying, somewhere you are honored, somewhere you are neglected, ignored. Whatever it is, if there is a certain watching, J. Krishnamurti would say, true meditation happens. True meditation happens not necessarily in a pleasant, beautiful setting. You can get something ugly, something rotten, some foul smell coming from something by the roadside. You see it, you watch your thoughts also, not intentionally, but in a certain natural way. By intentional, I mean with some gain in mind. Okay, I'm going to watch my thoughts now, even as I'm seeing that rotten, foul-smelling dead rat there. I'm going to watch my thoughts, and if I watch my thoughts, I think I'm likely to go to samadhi. I want to experience samadhi. Then your watching is no watching, because you are watching with a result in mind, with reward in mind. Just as Sri Krishna would say, "Ma phaleshu." Ma phaleshu kadachana. Doesn't Sri Krishna say, don't have phalasakti. Watch your thoughts, watch your agony, watch your ecstasy with no purpose, with no objective, with no gain in mind. Then you are the flame of Satchit. You are and you are watching. Does it bring you to a halt? Does your personality screech to a halt? Like when a car suddenly stops, some sound comes. The car screeched to a halt. Some expressions like that are seen. Here we say, no, no, nothing goes to an abrupt end. You are doing whatever otherwise also you would do, but thanks to your deep understanding of Vedanta. Therefore, in the Vedanta, right understanding is given importance. And right understanding is not necessarily connected to scholarship. A speaker, a writer may talk a lot, write volumes about all kinds of scriptures. Sometimes you meet somebody, he has written a 700-page book on Brahma Sutras, 300-page book on Kathopanishad. Now he is writing a 2000-page book on Bhagavatam. I can't write even one article in my life, you say. Who cares about the volumes of books and volumes or hours and hours of lectures? Somebody else who is not scholarly, thanks to her pure mind, she grasps the essence of Vedanta and she is able to stay quiet, aware, watchful, sensitive, She is aware without a boundary, without a dividing line between outside and inside. She is aware. Then she succeeds in being and seeing. When you, thanks to that higher understanding, not because of forcing yourself, not because of the operation of will. I want to get realized now this year, 2025. There are only October now, only 3 months are left. Ayo Rama. I have decided, I have resolved to get realized, get enlightened by end of December this 2025. I'm going to increase my effort. That is all childish. Though we sympathize with your sadness, with your frustration at not being enlightened. We sympathize with that. But if you truly want to get enlightened, no room for panic, no room for that. Enlightenment is not some goal to be reached in the real sense of the word. Because the Vedanta lovingly says to us, you are already enlightened, but you don't recognize it. It's about seeing, and to see, you need to be, and to be, you need to see, and being and seeing are not different. Sattaya hi chit, chittaya hi aham. As Sat, there is Chit, and as Chit, you are. You are Sat and Chit together. Sat and Chit are one only. You want to say they are two sides of the same coin is a concession in language because Brahman has no two sides. The right side of Brahman is Sat, I think, and left side is Chit. Don't say that. Don't say, I love all people, whether they are right wing people or left wing people. Because Brahman also has a right wing called Sat, left wing called Chit. So communists are all with Chit, and those who are into tradition are Sat, stupid. That is a very wrong mixing up. Don't bring politics, don't bring political philosophies to Sat and Chit. If you say communist or a right wing person, everyone is Sat Chit. So don't divide Sat and Chit. Everyone is Sat Chit. Utter atheist also is Sat Chit. And most orthodox person who doesn't begin his day unless he takes bath and does Rudrabhisheka. There are some people. When I lived in San Jose, California, one of the persons attending my classes fairly regularly was a South Indian, a Palghat Iyer, who was so devoted to Rudrabhisheka. His wife said to me, this husband of mine, no matter what pressure of work there is, gets up 4:30, takes bath, does Rudrabhisheka, which takes half an hour, 45 minutes or more. After that only he leaves, takes up work. What about his travel? No exception. From California he goes to Texas. Another day on some work he has to go to New York. Wherever he carries his Shivalinga with some puja samagri. And even if he had for some reason gone to bed at 11:30, 12, and next morning 7 a.m. he has to be at his workplace, he works backwards. To be at 5, 7 a.m. at workplace, I need to. So maybe 4:30 a.m. bath, Rudrabhishek. So such people are sometimes called very, very right-wing people. They are very devoted to tradition. And these communists, etc., generally, really speaking, in the communist, there is a right wing fellow hidden. In the right wing fellow, there is a communist hidden. This world is very strange. All of us live in contradictions. Somebody was once condemning caste system. And by that time, one Shastri girl came, somebody with vibhuti, and some Brahmin came there. This man was the first one to go and bow down before that Shastri girl. Shastri, some learned Vedic Pandit. All were surprised. Eh? On one hand, he condemns. On the other, he bows down. Maybe from some other angle of view, he respects knowledge, maybe, not the caste, not the, as Swami Chinmayananda used to say, threaded variety. It's not the thread that matters to him, but this communist probably respected certain knowledge that the other guy had, whatever. So, without going too far, B and C. Erroneous seeing makes room for smoke. Right seeing helps us shine like pure flame without. Therefore, we must, through understanding, some willpower is needed. Don't go berserk just doing anything you feel like doing. Live in discipline. Discipline has a place in life. It's important, it's valuable. But don't be caught in narrow definitions of discipline. Don't become a robot. Don't be mechanical in the name of discipline. Don't act like a machine. Have certain sensitivity and have certain freshness of approach. So, discipline is a very, very intriguing topic. What is true discipline? Discipline devoid of understanding of life makes you mechanical. In the last slide, we have something to see quickly from Shankara's commentary on this mantra. Both the mantras, Angushta Matra Purusha, Madhya Asena, etc., Madhya Atmani Tishtati, Angushta Matra Purusha, Jyotireva Dhumakaha, both of them talk about Brahman. Yastu Evam Lakshitaha, this Brahman, because Purusha is masculine, Lakshitaha. Otherwise, Brahma Lakshitam, it would have been, that's grammar. Evam Lakshitaha, Yogi Bihi Hridaye, yogis, advanced spiritual seekers, perceive this truth in their own heart. Ishana, the red letter words are from the mantra itself. Ishanaha bhutabhavyasya sa eva nityaha, eternal, kutastaha, like an anchor, like an anvil. Anvil is the word. Adya means today, at this time. Idanim, pranishu, vartamani. He is here right now. So shvahapi vartate, vartishyate. Tomorrow also he will be. Yesterday also he was. Na anyaha tat samaha anyasya janisyate. There is nothing other than him, nothing equal to him or her, to that Purusha Tattva. And Shankara concludes his commentary saying, long ago in the first chapter and first valley of Kathopanishad, the boy Nachiketa had asked a question. Some say there is something other than body, mind, intellect, prana, etc. Panchakosha binnaha avastatraya atitaha. He didn't use those words. He just asked, Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushe astityeke nayamastiti chaike. Nayamastiti chaike is what Shankara refers to. Some say there is nothing. They are shunyavadis. When you get enlightened, your ego vanishes and nothing remains. This idea of a pure self, etc., is not true. They say. It is said Buddha also said it. We doubt it. Perhaps Buddha was misunderstood, is our view, or Buddha, for some reason, kept quiet on that pure self. Like he did about God. About God, he was silent. About a pure, all pervasive self. What is that word? Which survives. Pure self survives when the ego dies, is the Advaita Vedanta's position. Shankara stands by it. Therefore, if Nachiketa asks, some say nothing of that kind exists. Some say it exists. What is your opinion? What is your vision? Yama answers here, this is. The flame is. The flame shines. The flame was, is, and will be. Everything else comes and goes, but the flame, unaffected by time, is. Therefore, he says, on one hand, that higher truth or the highest truth is our position, unambiguous. Secondly, Even another Buddhist school which says that only when objects appear, consciousness rises. When objects are not there, consciousness also is not there. That's called Kshanabhangavada. Kshana means moment. Moment to moment, the pair rises and the pair vanishes. What is the pair? What is the jodi? One is object. You see a bird, then there is a seer in you. When you don't see a bird, when you don't taste anything, when you don't hear anything, when you don't know even any thought, thought has vanished, birds have vanished, gulab jamun has vanished, foul smelling dead rat has vanished. You also have vanished, they say. Thought what? Yeah. The knowing principle in you also isn't there. It rises only when something, the known and the knower rise together and fall together, even in the ultimate sense, is their position. Kshanabhangavada. Whereas Advaita Vedanta says there is a knower separate from the known, a known separate from the knower. That pair, yes, it rises together and falls together. But even as this pair rises and subsides, as the substrate, as the adhisthana for both of them, Maharshi Ramana in Saddarshana uses the word loka and dhihi. Loka, the perceived world rises, dhi also rises, and loka and dhi together subside. But there is some truth. He goes for totally with Shankara. He says there's some truth which is the basis for both loka and dhi. Dhi loka janma kshaya vihinam sadvastu purnam. He says there is a sadvastu which is the basis for both loka and dhi, the known and the knower. Therefore, Shrutihi swavachanena, by these words, so it's a serious mantra not to be taken lightly. The doubt is answered. Nachiketa's doubt, as found in the first chapter, first Valli, 20th verse, is answered here. Shrutya pratyuktaha, prativachana is answer. Tata kshanabhangavadascha pratyuktaha. Kshanabhangavadaha pratyuktaha is answered, is rejected, nirakritaha. Advaita Vedantaha Shunyavadancha Kshanabhangavadancha Nirakaroti. Advaita Vedanta dismisses, doesn't agree with the Buddhist view. This is what is said. Namah Shri Gurubhyaha. Namah Shri Gurubhyaha. Hari Om. We conclude here. Namaskar.